What's up, y'all? Can you see my shirt? What's up, y'all? It's Dominique, aka That Therapist. For those of you who know me, I am the lead clinician and CEO for a group practice. There we go. Known as Yellowbird Counseling. And we service the entire state of Alabama, pretty much. We have clients everywhere. Far, far north, far, far south, far, far east, far west, and central Alabama. So, yeah. But even more so than that, we facilitate live discussions every Thursday to educate the general population on reasons that we all could benefit from a therapist besides just having a mental illness. Y'all are going to have to forgive me. Y'all know how my allergies start acting up as soon as I go live. I took something for it, but it might just take a couple minutes to kick in. So y'all are just going to have to bear with me, okay? I got a little Rudolph going on here. May have to sniffle, blow my nose, whatever. It's life, okay? But yeah, so I've been really trying to be diligent about getting us prepared for. So late fall, winter is going to be approaching us. And this is a very unique time of the year because this is when people who may not have ever noticed being upset, finding themselves upset, or people who have been upset notice it being a little harder to manage, okay? So I'll get into that, but please share this live. I'm sure at least one person on your timeline could benefit from it. If it's not for you, it could be for someone else. You may be saving someone's life because mental health is not just mental. It could be physical, especially with things like depression that can really take you out, literally, that can really end your life. So we want to make sure that everybody benefits. So if you could help me break the stigma by sharing, share, and in your groups and on your timelines and Instagram and your DMs and fan base. I don't even know if you could share, but that's okay. That's fine. Just as long as the word gets out and everybody is able to benefit. So what is sad? Like, what does it mean it's just sad? Like, what am I talking about? So, all right. Starting in November, y'all know how it's like daytime right now, and then all of a sudden at 2:00 it's like dark. It just gets dark all of a sudden, and it's real sudden, and people start noticing it. And I've noticed this for the past couple years in my practice. People come to me in January, and they've been struggling for the past 2 months, and I say, "How long has this been going on? How long of this level of discomfort that you've been experiencing it, how long has it been going on?" And they will say, and I can pretty much almost say it for them, since November, okay? Since November. November starts it, which is kind of sad for me because November is actually my birthday month. My birthday is November 4th, so y'all better show up and show out. I'm just joking. No, but seriously. But it's a hard month because we have this season with such a drastic change. So we have a lot of people, between 3 and 25 million to be exact, who experience what's called Seasonal Affective Disorder. Okay, this is a DSM-5 diagnosis, not just characterized, but also called seasonal depression. Okay, so you might notice yourself being more, and not just sad, not just down, but actual physical symptoms, which I'll go through here in a little bit. But, us as clinicians and in the science world believe that seasonal affective disorder is largely related to the lack of sunlight. There's shorter days, and it gets dark quicker, so there's less vitamin D out there. And so if you're somebody that works in a building all day, you might go to work when it's dark and leave when it's dark, okay? And you don't get any sunlight in between. Or just not getting an adequate amount of sunlight, period. Because during the day we're working or we're in school. So when we get out of work or school and it's dark and we got there early in the morning when it was dark, that causes some issues with deficiency in vitamin D. So also melatonin deficiencies. Melatonin, you could get it over the counter to help you wind down, but also it's a natural chemical that your body creates, and the people that have trouble winding down in the evening time, they're deficient in it, so they take melatonin. It helps you to wind down to be able to fall asleep. It's not a sleep aid. It just helps you to wind down to fall asleep, so you can actually make the choice to fall asleep. But it's not like a sleep aid. It's not going to like put you out. So there's that. And then what other contributors could there be? Lack of melatonin, lack of vitamin D due to the shortened amount of days. And that's the real cause of it is unknown, but there's heavy association with those things, the aforementioned things, if you will. So let's see. It usually starts around November, and some people may even be noticing it now. You may even have started already noticing it. But definitely by November, it kicks into high gear, and you're like, man, I'm really sad all of a sudden, or and it occurs the same time every year. Okay, if you notice, oh God, like you start kind of feeling weird around this time, like, oh no, I know in a couple of weeks I'm going to start feeling really terrible, and it happens every year, and I'm not sure why. Well, I'm explaining it to you now. Like I said, again, it does affect about 3 to 25 million people. Okay, so it is extremely common. So let's get that out the way for those of you that are like, oh, ain't nothing wrong with me, I ain't crazy. Well, 3 to 25 million people is a lot. And it goes up to 25 million because there's varying degrees of seasonal affective disorder. There's really severe all the way to mild. But both degrees and everything in between is really uncomfortable because it's noticeable. And when we talk about the symptoms of it, you'll be able to understand if that's what you're experiencing or not, or if someone that you may know is experiencing it. That is why I ask you to please share the live, okay? Again, y'all gonna have to bear with me with these allergies, because just like seasonal allergies, okay, all right, my allergies are very seasonal, and honestly, I think maybe, I don't know that I experienced seasonal affective disorder. I'm trying to think. I'll keep an eye on it this year, which is strange because, as you guys know, I do have a depression diagnosis, but it is managed. I do take my medication, and I am in therapy weekly. Me and my therapist just talked about preparing me for sad season yesterday, okay? So, yes. And I got my massage therapies in place. Mr. Carter, no! So I got my massage therapy in place, my MDR in place, and my regular weekly therapy with my Black therapist in place. And I love her so much. I'm dog sitting, guys, so there may be a little interference in the background, especially with Mr. Carter riling up all the other dogs, okay? So, all right, so it lasts. How long does it last? You'll probably notice it again starting in November and lasts until about March-ish, give or take. But that's a long time to be feeling the symptoms that we're going to be talking about. That's November, December, January, February, March. That's like 5 months of discomfort. And you don't have to do that. You don't have to thug it out. There's no reason to, okay? Because what'll happen is in March, it'll lift as suddenly as it came. And then you'll be like, man, I done put on weight. These things have happened. And it's like you awakened from a sleep. And now you're going to have to deal with the aftermath of what was going on while you were in that sleep, when you could be dealing through it as it's happening. So when you do come out of the fog, you're not noticing things being in shambles like they would if you just kind of try to thug it out. Okay, you don't never try to thug out depression, any type of depression, which seasonal affective disorder is a type of depression. Never try to thug it out. It's never a good idea. Okay, because again, depression is not anything to play with. All my clients will tell you, I do not play about depression. I don't, because it can really take your life. And as somebody who has not only self-harm, but has had suicidal ideations myself, I don't play with it, because you can only do what your brain tells you to do. So if your brain is having depressive thoughts, it gets real hard not to succumb to them. Real hard. Harder than what you might imagine if you've never experienced it. Because just like, my brain is telling me my nose itches right now. Like, it's hard for me to just I can't will myself out of my allergies bothering me. I just can't. You can't will yourself out of depression. Can you cope through it? Yes. But can you will yourself out of it? No, you can't. It's a real diagnosis. Okay. So, and if anybody wants to challenge that, that's fine. You can, but it's not a smart idea. As a clinician, I will never tell you that you should just thug out depression or you should will yourself out of it. I will never say that. They will snatch up my license so fast, and I ain't trying to have it at all. So, it causes a change. You'll notice a change in your circadian rhythm. Either you're wanting to sleep more, like you just feel like you can't get enough sleep during these months, or it could cause insomnia. But you will notice a change in your circadian rhythm or your sleep pattern. You'll notice a change in it. Your mood, you may notice that you've become more anxious. You're just like, I don't know what's going on. Nothing really identifiable circumstantially in your life has happened. But my shirt is bothering me. Okay. It might not be anything circumstantial that you can identify that has happened, but you just notice yourself being more anxious. Your mood is shifting around a little more than what you're used to. You might notice yourself being more apathetic, which this is hard because November to January, especially for college, well, not just college kids, but people in school, it's hard because you're already at the end of the semester, you're already exhausted, and you're taking your finals right smack dab in the middle of sad season. So like, my heart really goes out to people in school during this time, because it just gets hard for no reason all of a sudden, on top of it already being hard because this is the most intense part of the semester. So be watching out for that. If you're in school or if your kids are in school, be watching out for that, okay? Especially if you have a history of depression, especially if you're female, all right? So you might notice, let me make sure the dogs aren't hurting each other. Hold on. Hey. No. Oh, all right. Kids. All right, so there's that. You may notice apathy. You may notice just feeling overall discontentment. All right, just not feeling as content as you did in the summertime when it was hot girl summer and you was just feeling all content and you had your body out and you was drinking and partying and day partying. And now you're just like, I'm just not happy. I'm just not content with my life. Things just don't feel like they're coming together. That's a symptom. Feeling more lonely than normal, which is a real thing because it's starting to get cold. People start cuffing. All right. It's about to be cuffing season. Okay. And so if you're a single person, that could be tough. And not just saying single, people in relationships could just start feeling lonely in their relationships as well. In a situation where maybe you don't have people around you like that, or people to talk to like that, it can, be intense as well. Lots of interest in doing things. You really just don't want to do nothing. You want to sleep all the time. You want to be inside. You don't really want to get dressed. You don't really feel like, eating, cooking, cleaning, none of that, right? Lose interest. You don't really want to play your video games like you used to. You don't want to talk on the phone. You just want to be in the bed with the covers over your head with nobody bothering you. So there's that. Sadness, of course, just feeling sad. Again, mood swings. I already said these: excessive sleep and insomnia, sleep deprivation, appetite changes. Now, they've associated the autumn and winter months with overeating. And then if you have seasonal affective disorder in the spring and summer months, it's under eating. But for me, I think it's a reverse. I start eating less in the summer and more I start eating less in the winter and more in the summer. Like, I noticed it already. My appetite, I'll say maybe like a month ago, I think my appetite starts slowing down in August or September is when my appetite starts slowing down. But they say with seasonal affective disorder that during the winter months, your appetite is going to go up, and there's weight gain associated with that. But it could also be loss of appetite as well, because that's a symptom of depression. Fatigue, just again feeling tired, like you can't sleep enough to get enough energy. There's not really much you can do to get enough energy. You'll feel that fatigue. You might notice yourself being more irritable or socially isolated. I know that's me. So maybe I do experience sad. It's just not the mood sad. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't feel more sad, but these symptoms, that's the tricky thing about depression. You can absolutely be experiencing depression without emotionally feeling it. Okay. In fact, that is the ideal. I use ideal loosely, but that is the ideal definition of depression. You're not really feeling much of anything. You know what I'm saying? You're feeling numbness. You're feeling just detached. Just the detached feeling. And I'm talking to the people that know what I'm talking about. If I say it, you're going to be like, yes. And even if you don't know what I'm talking about, share it, because somebody on your timeline knows what I'm talking about. But you feel detached. You just feel, I don't know, like you're outside of yourself, like you're on autopilot, like just not wanting to be interacting with people. Lack of concentration. Your concentration, you notice that going down. Which, if you're going to work when it's dark and come and leaving when it's dark, a lack of concentration ain't where it's at. That ain't comfortable to feel at all. All right, so those are the common symptoms that you might experience. Just a shift in your mood, a shift in your eating, a shift in your sleeping. Look at that. Do you have a shift in your mood, a shift in your eating, sleeping, or energy? So we'll say that. So ask yourself these questions. Am I noticing a shift in my mood? Am I noticing a shift in my sleeping? Am I noticing a shift in my eating? Am I noticing a shift in my energy? Those are the 4 areas where you're going to really see change. Or I said that. Okay, so that's one of the 4. Great. So, who does SAD most commonly affect? Most commonly, and I've seen different ages, but usually 18 to 40. We'll just say that. And not saying that those are like, if you're under 18, then you're in the clear. Or if you're over 40, you're in the clear. That's just the most common age. But there are definitely people that are older and younger that also experience SAD. And it's not just women, it's men too. I talked to several of my male clients this week about preparing for sad season, and we have individual treatment plans. All my clients, I done already started talking about it. We done started, when did we start talking about sad? On my client load, we started talking about getting prepared for sad season in August. Because we wanted to have a solid plan so that when we're in the trenches, we got our coping skills together, we got our therapy regimen together, we got all the things that we need to get through the 5 months of wanting to hibernate and just not really wanting to, just life not being as fulfilling because of seasonal affective disorder. So we've already got our stuff in place over here at Yellowbird. Okay, we got our stuff in place. That's why we also introduced last week the partnership that Yellowbird has with Reiki Garden, so that we can offer our clients massage therapy regimen. Because as we learned last week, depression, you feel that depression tension in your back, and for anxiety, you feel it in your core and in your upper like neck and shoulder area. And so we already got massages booked and ready for people for sad season, so they can experience total mind body wellness during these next 5 months. Okay, of course we'll continue to offer it after that, but I was really intentional, myself and Tyra were really intentional to have everything in place before sad season started, so that people had a place of refuge, especially with that loneliness. Just having, like Tyra was saying last week, just having that human contact is really, really helpful. It's really, really helpful. And then, of course, for me, all up in here starts being tight. And then I notice when my lower back starts messing up, that depression is kicking in. See, I already got my stuff together. We're already booking Yellowbird clients for November. So if you're not a Yellowbird client and you want to experience total mind body wellness, especially during this season, then give us a call. I got great clinicians. We've got a lot of availability open because I was very intentional to have the manpower. So I am not available. I'm full. I've been full for like a year. I've maybe taken, in the past year, I've probably maybe taken like maybe 10 new clients in a year. And so I've been booked out for a year. I'm already booked for November, but I have 6 other great clinicians that have openings under me. And I'm very intentional to hire people with similar practice modalities to mine and just down to earth personalities, because we are therapists of the people, for the people, from the people. All right. And we're going to continue to be prepared so that when November hits, we've got everything in place for y'all, and we want you to have everything in place as well, so that these next 5 months don't have to be difficult for you. Okay. Let's see. So here are some warning signs for SAD. All right. Do you live far from the equator? So that's like a given. Like if you live far from the equator, then you're at higher risk. People in Alaska really deal with it pretty heavy because they have long periods of darkness. In fact, depression and suicide is really high in Alaska because of that. So they have it pretty bad. Yeah, if you live far from the equator, again, women between the ages of 18 and 40 with a history of depression, especially depression that's untreated, okay? A lot of people are walking around here with untreated depression thinking that it's normal, thinking that the way they feel is normal because they felt that way for so long. But it ain't, all right? It's not okay. Don't continue. And once that depression veil gets lifted and you see life different, you'll be like, wow, I never even knew all this existed. That's how it is. Like, seriously, you're like, whoa. Where am I? It's like that, especially if you've ever been in a deep major depressive episode. It ain't fun. All right. It's not fun at all. And trying to do it without a therapist and or medication if you need to, don't do that to yourself. Okay, that's self-sabotage in the worst way. Do not sabotage yourself like that. But I'll be all right. I'm gonna drink a Sprite and lay down, or I'm gonna just pray about it. Prayer is fine. I am not knocking prayer, but remember, like I said when Jennifer was on a couple weeks ago, you praying, and then God shows you a therapist, and you're like, oh no, I don't need therapy. The Lord gonna answer my prayer. Well, that therapist was the answer to your prayer. We think we be praying for stuff and thinking it's supposed to look and come a certain way, but when it comes the way that it's supposed to come, then we just are like, oh no, that ain't it. Y'all seen that little cartoon with the guy and he was praying for the Lord to bring him safety, and the water kept rising, and it was like 3 different boats that passed him, and then he finally drowned, and he was like, God, I asked you to save me, and he was like, I sent 3 different boats, you didn't get on it. So don't be that person. Don't do that to yourself. If you pray for God to help you out of that depressive mood, and he opens the door for you to go to therapy or shows you a therapist, go to that therapist, whoever they are, even if it's not with Yellowbird, if it's with someone else. There's several great practices in the area that I would recommend anyone go to. So just make sure you have yourself a personal therapist that you can interact with that is preparing you adequately for the tough times. Hey, doggies. No, dogs. No. No, doggies. All right. So, all right. So what's some other things, some other warning signs? Hold on, guys. Hold on. Give me 1 second. No, doggies. No. Hold on. Mr. Carter, get in here. No. Hey. Go on. Come on. Okay. All right. Cool. I'm back. All right. So, if you notice your carb cravings really going up, then that's a, hey, come here. The dogs are upset. Why are you upset, doggies? It's okay. Mr. Carter is such a rebel without a cause, causing the other dogs to be upset. But yes, if you notice your carb cravings kind of going out of control, then that is an indicator or a warning sign of SAD as well. Let's see. All right. Yes, therapy and God. I wasn't even on the comments, but yes, you can have therapy in Jesus. You can have the Bible and therapy, all that. But November to March is when you'll notice these carb cravings. And if you have 5 months of carb cravings that you're giving into, you're not going to be ready for hot girl summer in summer 2022. You die. So that's what I'm saying. Don't make yourself try to thug it out, because you might come out of this season 15 pounds heavier when you could have just been in therapy, developed a good coping strategy, and not put on extra weight from seasonal affective disorder. Okay, so therapy comes full circle. It's full mind and body. Okay. And then again, just wish you could sleep all winter. So, but it's not just depression either. You may experience mania as well, so they say loosely that seasonal affective disorder could be a type of bipolar disorder, and that's because there could be mania associated with it. So you might not even be feeling down. You might just, that's where the insomnia part comes from, or just real keyed up. You always got to be doing something, can't calm down, just mania, just feeling manic. That can be a symptom of SAD as well. Let me get Mr. Carter. He's messing it up for everyone. Mr. Carter. Mr. Carter, get in here. Mr. Carter, come on. Get in here. Okay, babies. Okay. Come here. It's okay. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. It's okay. It's all right. It's all right. Okay. Woo! All right. So, how do you cope with it? Well, I just said therapy. So there's that. And then there's specific other regimens that you can do. But again, y'all know how I feel about giving things out generally because everything doesn't work for everybody. So it's really good for you to find a therapist to help you figure out what strategies and coping measures work best for you. But light therapy is one, different supplements, and definitely, like I said, therapy and or counseling. All right. And we talked about the difference in those in the last year. So, yeah, what questions do y'all have for me? Yes. What questions do y'all have? Questions? Hey. Thank y'all for bearing with me through the dogs barking. I think they had some words earlier that I wasn't aware of while I was in session. I think they had some words with each other. And so I think they're like having an argument right now, which is cool. Mr. Carter started it. I'm sure he did. Because he's just bad to the bone like that. Y'all know him. He's just bad. All right. He's going to boarding school, by the way. First week of November, he will be going to doggy boarding school. And I can't wait. I just can't wait. But yeah, what kind of questions do you guys have for me? Yes. Tanya said have your vitamin D levels checked. Yes. Me, I know mine are very, very, very low. It ain't good. Like super low, like deficient. All right. I've been taking mine, but if you're taking too much, I'm taking a lot of different vitamin complexes right now. And be careful with that because it can turn your pee like a bright yellow neon color, and it's real alarming. When it just means that you may have an excess amount of vitamins, and they say it's vitamin B's, that can cause it. But yes, definitely get your vitamin D level checked. Yes. I don't know if before, in conjunction with, probably, but I am not a medical doctor. So I can't say that you should or should not get your thyroids checked. I'm sure it couldn't hurt. It couldn't hurt. But even still, even if it's low vitamin D levels, like still, there is still an emotional or something going on with your thyroid. There's still an emotional and like behavioral experience that you will have because of that. And that's what the therapist helps you cope through. The emotional and behavioral challenges or the thought pattern challenges that may come along with low vitamin D levels or, whatever, if you're having issues with your thyroid, that could cause behavioral or mental or emotional distress for you. So, I'm sure it can't hurt to get your thyroids checked, though. It sure can't hurt. But all I can really speak on is the therapy and the of course vitamin D and stuff, the related issues with that. But that's a good question. Still a very good question. Cool. Any other questions that y'all have? Y'all got any other questions? Please be sure you share, because again, people are experiencing this every season and don't know what's going on with them, and then they be dreading this season and they don't gotta dread it, especially with really good holidays coming. Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. We got some really good holidays coming, so you shouldn't be having to feel like you have to struggle through that when you could get yourself a therapist and get you on a really good wellness regimen to help you cope through this next 5 months. Any other questions that y'all got for me? For you, antidepressants don't help with SAD? No, I didn't say that. That's not what I said. I'm on antidepressants, and I'm sure that they help with my seasonal affective disorder. I didn't say that. That's not what I said. So if y'all heard me say that, that's not what I said. That's not what I meant to say. Too sad to get on a dream vacation in 2 weeks. Just want to stay home and hibernate. Yep, that feeling of wanting to hibernate. That feeling of wanting to hibernate is largely associated with SAD. And I know I be feeling it. And I remember when I worked in the hospital, we would just be like, oh, I'm just so tired. I just want to go home and go to sleep. And it would be worse in those winter months. It was like, oh, I'm just so tired. I just want to sleep. And I noticed it because I actually when I worked at the hospital, I started during SAD season. And I was like, man, I'm so tired and so hungry and exhausted. And it wasn't like the work was any harder because I worked in foster care before that. But when I was working in foster care, I could make my own schedule and I wasn't just in one place or in a building all day. Like I was usually mostly in my car. And so I was outside a lot. You do want to get out as much as you can. But like I said, if you're in a situation where you work 7 to 3 or 8 to 5 or something, it could be dark when you're going in and when you're leaving. So you might not be able to get that sunlight and just come in and come out. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Let's see. What other questions do y'all have? What other questions? See, my allergies are just now starting to calm down. It takes about 30 to 40 minutes. So I should start taking the allergy pill earlier. But I literally come from sessions into lives. Like I'll be like, my last session, I might be carrying my computer. Like towards the end of it. I'll be like, okay, but they know I'm about to go live. I have the same person every Thursday. So, but yeah. What other questions do y'all have about SAD? What other questions, comments, concerns? Yes, all my therapists work with anxiety. All of them work with depression. All of my therapists work with the LGBTQ community. They have to, otherwise they can't work for me. They can find somewhere else to work if they're not at least an ally. Okay, I am in the LGBTQ community myself, so it wouldn't make any sense for me to hire people that don't ally with the community. So yes, all of my therapists work with LGBTQ. They all work with anxiety and depression. They all work with grief. They all work with, some of them have specialty areas, okay? But generally, the general things, well, they all have specialty. I won't say some. They all. Like, I have my specialties. They have their specialties. But in general, for the general population, those general things we all do, we all can accommodate. How often am I getting massages? Every other week. Next week is actually time. I do for sad season. This is my therapy regimen, in just case y'all want to know. Now I have weekly therapy at 11 a.m. on Wednesdays with my therapist, Sharika Pruitt. I love her so much. Oh my gosh, she's everything I've been looking for in a therapist. Oh my gosh, I love her. I love her. And she's gonna come on live with me at some point. We got to get it scheduled so she can come on as my therapist, so y'all know I'm not just capping. Okay, I'm not going to tell you you need therapy and counseling and I don't do it myself. What do I look like? I ain't no hypocrite. I don't do that hypocrite stuff. So I see Sharika every Wednesday at 11 a.m. And now every other Wednesday, I see Emily Dickinson. Yes, that's her name. She's my EMDR therapist. And then it's been every other Tuesday I've been seeing Tyra. We just been doing that kind of for the last few weeks, but that's my therapy regimen. How did you find a great fit for your therapist? That is a good question. So, how did I find Sharika? I went on Therapy for Black Girls because I actually told because Emily was doing all of my therapy. She was doing my EMDR and my regular talk therapy as well. But I was real open with her because we had a rapport. I said, I really need a Black therapist to help me get through the day-to-day stuff, like the life-to-life stuff. But I want to keep you for the EMDR because I have rapport built with you and I love her as a therapist, but she's not Black and I needed somebody Black that could relate to the cultural nuances. So I went on Therapy for Black Girls. And to be honest with you, I looked at all the therapists that ranked as high as I did because I'm one of the high-ranking therapists on Therapy for Black Girls in Alabama. So I looked at the other high-ranking therapists. That's what I did. And so I found her, and she has other therapists working under her. They tried to put me with one of them, but I was like, no, I need to see the practice owner. I'm bougie in that way. I need to see the practice owner because I'm a practice owner. So I needed to see the practice owner. And so I read her profile and I just felt in my gut. I went with my gut. I go with my gut a lot now and it has never failed me. But I went with my gut and I was like, this is the one. It's like when you know. But I looked for someone that dealt with the things that I deal with. And Sharika deals with a lot of anxiety, which is even more so than my depression. My anxiety presents more severely than my depression does, which if I had to choose, I would rather. Okay, if I had to choose between which one presents the heaviest, I would rather for it to be the anxiety than the depression. That's a hard choice, but I would rather. So, and so as I was reading about her, I was like, yes, it has to be her. But things that you want to look for is somebody that deals with your particular, whatever your particular struggle is. Also, I wanted to make sure I saw somebody that was hands-on, meaning that they assigned homework, meaning that they was going to tell me like it is. I don't need a therapist that's going to sugarcoat and pat my head. I don't want that. I want a therapist that's going to be like, listen, like, child, get on board. I'm like, okay. Like, I need somebody that's going to be like a coach therapist to me. So yeah, you just got to know who you are, know what you need. But if you don't know those things yet, and that's what you're going to therapy to find out, definitely you could go to Therapy for Black Girls and just read through people's descriptions to get a feel for them. I know and some therapists may even have videos on there. We have videos for all of our therapists on our website. So like I had somebody call me today and they're like, okay, well, let me go back and look at that person's profile and video. Because when you go to yellowbirdcounseling.com and you go to the team tab, you will see a picture, you will see a written bio, and you will have a video introduction. So before you even call me or email me or text me, you will know, you'll have a good feel of all of the practitioners that we have. I know that's not all of what you asked, but that was a great question, and I'm really passionate about finding a good fit for a therapist, so I am glad that you asked that. So thank you. I hope I answered your question. I felt like I did a little rambling. All right. Any other questions? Hey, baby. And the doggies are just now calming down. They're just now calming down. They're sweet babies. Yeah. All right. Well, like I said, we've got everything in place over here for you at Yellowbird. Go to yellowbirdcounseling.com. You can click on the team tab, look at all of our therapists that we have. They have video. They have Blue G's doing some updates because we just had a photo shoot, but they all have something, a video. They either have a picture and a bio and a video, or a picture and a bio, or a video and a bio. They got something, okay, that you can feel if they're a good fit for you or not. Or you could just, I tell people, I make it real simple here. You can click on yellowbirdcounseling.com and contact us, and you can simply shoot me an email that says need therapy. You don't even got to type a whole lot. Okay. Some of my clients, they giving out my direct number, but I let them do that. If they give out my direct number, they know that they have to tell the person to text me. Otherwise, I won't know to answer it. Okay. So they have to text me, because if they call a business number, it shows up that way. So if they're not calling a business number and somebody got the inside number and gave it to their friend, they better tell their friend to let them know they got it. Let me know they got it from them so that I'll know. But yes, you can just simply say needs therapy. And I will get you set up with one of my people. I'll ask you a couple of questions, and I try to get it done really, really quick. I try to, from the time that you reach out to me to the time we link you to a therapist, I don't want it to take more than 48 hours, okay? We've been doing really, really good for it to not take more than 24 or less than 24, but the maximum is from when you reach out to when we link you to a therapist, no longer than 48 hours, okay? Yeah. What else? Anything else? All right. Well, in the spirit of Halloween, we're going to talk about fear and what does that mean next week. That's what we're going to talk about, fear. We're going to talk about all that's associated with it and its relationship to mental health as well. So I really enjoyed y'all. I hope that you got out of this. I really hope that you share this because somebody on your timeline needs to see it. All right. And I just want to make sure that we really embrace total mind, body wellness, especially during this season, but then for life to come. But I will see y'all next week. Y'all be safe, take care of yourself, and get your booster. Actually, you know what? Talk to your doctor. Okay, ask your doctor, consult your doctor about booster. Consult your doctor about all vaccines and boosters, your primary care professional.